Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the Havoc Esports Academy League Week 5. I'm your host, HVC Luke, and we have an exciting amount of matches here tonight. And up first, we got the current team that people believe is the best, Havoc Pink, versus the new up-and-comers, Havoc White. And that would be beginning right now. To give some context here on this match, looking at this match right now, currently, Havoc Pink is 3-1, their only loss being a forfeit loss, where they weren't able to play their match. And Havoc White right now, they are currently the only team tied 2-2 in the series differential. Everyone is either above them, 3-1 or 4-0, and everyone else is 1-3 below them. So Havoc White are trying to stay in the top 4 seeding right now, going into the final last 3 weeks of the Academy League split. But without further ado, folks, it's time to get into the first match of tonight between Havoc White and Havoc Pink. The players are already in the lobby. Let's get started, everyone. Here we go. Okay, well, kind of anticlimactic there. And it looks like, here we go. The players have now joined, and we're now getting into the match here. If only the players read the message to join sooner. Here we go. Let's get started. It's taking a little bit of time to start, but it looks like we're now off to the races. Here we go, everybody. Looks like everything is good. Here we go. Ball gets popped out to the backboard. Here we go. Pre-dude getting the save on that one. Back over to Shadow Slayer. Pop the ball over. And that's going to be saved. That's going to be a goal there for Party Shark. And it looks like one of the players hasn't joined the lobby. So the way the rules are here for Havoc is if somebody's not playing, I mean, it is a 2v3. It looks like the player has joined now. So we are only having a momentary issue. But it's all good now. Ball gets popped out in the middle. Pass down here to Santa Turtle. Now Havoc White, they are playing with their substitutes today. And only It's Shadow Slayer is the main member of this squad that's playing tonight. They're playing with their sub and alternate. So it's going to be interesting how Havoc White fare against the likes of this Havoc Pink squad. Havoc Pink, they were undefeated all the way through Split 1. Literally, the only series that Havoc Pink has lost this season was the forfeit. In Split 1, they didn't play in the seeding tournament, but they won every single league play match. Then they won every single playoff match in Split 1. Then in Split 2, they didn't show up for Week 1, but they have won every series after that, putting them at 3-1. And Tricky will end up finding the goal. Oh my, look at this. But I hope everyone else is having a great night tonight. We haven't had a Havoc here in a little bit. We had, of course, the RLCS Open Qualifier. Speaking of which, one of our players, longtime player here in Havoc at this point, S5 Cosmic, you know, top 100 1v1 player. I believe he's sitting at around top 15. He has recently just got rank A in 6-man, so congrats to him. He's currently playing on Havoc Gold in the main league, so you'll be able to get to see him play tomorrow. But his team also managed to make day 2, beating some very high-level teams in the RLCS Open Qualifier, and that was just the pickup team. They're going to be set. Oh, here we go. Party Shark trying to get me to shut up about Cosmic here as he puts in the ball in an empty net. But S5 Cosmic, he's on the rise, so make sure you guys keep checking out Havoc whenever he's playing, because right now he's rank A and he's ready to step up and try to win this season of Havoc. Ball gets popped out to the side. Over to Shadow Slayer. Shadow Slayer gets beat out on that one. But back over to Party Shark. To Rebel. Rebel now down to Pre-dude. Pre-dude putting it off the backboard. Followed up here, and another save away by Havoc White. Havoc White currently with the 1-goal lead against their reigning Split 1 champs. But Havoc Pink looking for some bumps. Gets the goal. Rebel ties the game. Look at this here. Now Rebel, I don't know if I like that decal choice. Anybody who was watching RLCS earlier today saw NRG get reverse swept by Space Station right before top 8. But, I mean, NRG can definitely come back. They're definitely looking a lot better than they have in the past, but Tricky slots that one in off the kickoff. First time we're seeing Havoc Pink in the lead. Granted, we do have to remember that Havoc Pink started the game in a 2v3. One of their players didn't join. But, nevertheless, these players are looking great. But welcome everyone in the chat. Welcome Smoking Guns Gaming, Mr. Chair. Welcome Wolfie Slayer 05. Welcome everybody to the chat. It's a pleasure to be your commentator tonight. I'll be your commentator tonight as well as over the next few weeks. I'm hoping we'll get some co-commentators for the playoffs, but we never know. By the way, if anyone is a commentator or looking to try and become a commentator, if you do !Discord, join the Havoc Discord and then message me, then you will be able to potentially join as a commentator and be taught how to be a commentator in the Havoc Esports League. So remember to do that, join our Discord, and maybe we'll get to see you guys in the live stream here, as not only as players, but as commentators as well. Here we go, Party Shark puts that ball over to the side. Gonna be looking for the beat, couldn't get it around one. Ball through the air, it's gonna be touched out to the side. Back over to Santa Turtle. The Shadow Slayer, it's off the backboard, and the crossbar will be the savior for Havoc Pink this time. And here comes Tricky. Tricky putting it all off the side. Balled up here, ball mid to Pre-Dude. Pre-Dude puts it in. 4-2 lead. And Havoc Pink right now are looking good. Right now, everyone is probably expecting Havoc Pink to be the top dogs here by the end of the season. Now, currently there is an undefeated team in Split 2. That is Smoking Guns Gaming. I do see some Smoking Guns fans in the chat as well. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Now, the one thing we do have to remember here about Smoking Guns is even though they're undefeated right now, they have never been able to beat Havoc Pink. The Smoking Guns roster, they technically won the seeding tournament, as Rebel puts that one in. And speaking of Rebel, Rebel was on Smoking Guns Gaming, well, when it was Team Cypher. And they actually won the seeding tournament, but after that they replaced Rebel with Kilo. But ever since then, they have yet to win a tourney. They got close. They took Havoc Pink to Game 6. But even before Rebel joined Havoc Pink, Smoking Guns weren't able to beat them. So it's going to be a question of, will the Smoking Guns Gaming squad be able to beat Havoc Pink this split? Now, I believe they have what it takes. But of course, belief doesn't mean anything if the team doesn't put in work, and I believe they have been putting in work, and hopefully we'll get to see them try and take on the currently undefeated team outside of Tardiness in Havoc Pink. Ball back over to Shadow Slayer. Shadow Slayer putting it off the backboard, looking for the double mid. He'll get touched away by Santa Turtle. Over to Party Shark. Now to Tricky. Now, I do love Party Shark and Santa Turtle's names. You know, you just gotta have like a sort of adjective-like word, and then just a noun. Here we go. We got Turtle. You know, we got Santa Turtle, and then we got Party Shark. You know, just overall great names. Apparently, according to Mr. Chair in chat, we've gotten a 50-50 on other opinions onto whether Smoking Guns actually beat Havoc Pink this split or not. Now, technically, we have 2 more playoffs that Smoking Guns are going to be looking to try and beat Havoc Pink. One of them, of course, is the Split 2 playoffs. So, because right here, this is week 5. And then next week, we're going to see if we can get a double header to try and catch Academy up to Main League. And that will be taking place, and then that will be weeks 6 and 7. And then the week after that will be the Academy playoffs. Will be the Split 2 playoffs. And then after that will be well, this Academy playoffs for the entire season. So the Split 2 playoffs, and of course, at the end of the season will be the great opportunities we're going to be looking to see if someone can dethrone Havoc Pink. Now we have never had the best team in Academy the best team in Academy has never been dethroned. That's something we do have to keep in mind. Because last season, Team Teal, they were undefeated. They won all 3 tournaments, and then they won the Academy tournament for the Academy playoffs at the end of the season. So no one's ever beaten the top dog. Smoking Guns going to be looking to try and do that by the end of this season. Look at that. Demos across the board for Havoc Pink. 6-2 win. The demo game really opening up the scoreline here for this squad. Let's see if they can keep this form up, though. Going for demos is normally done by the best teams in the world. However, when it comes to academy teams, sometimes your teammates start missing the ball, and it kind of leads you to not trust your teammates as much. So hopefully going into this next game, Havoc Pink can continue to keep this demo game up. And if they're able to do that, I can easily see a sweep here for Havoc Pink. Of course, Havoc White, they're going to be looking to try and go back to having a positive record. But nevertheless, we're going to be going into game number 2. Here we go. Players are now joining the lobby. Let's see if they're going to be able to get the win here, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Havoc Pink in the lead. Let's see if they got what it takes. Here we go. Ball popped out to the side. Be taken over here by Tricky. Tricky put it off the side wall. And now be taken here by Santa Turtle. Santa Turtle popping it off the side wall. Ends up not missing the ball, actually. Doesn't even get to hit the ball off the side wall. Party Shark will keep the ball on the offensive end of the field. But now Tricky with a great 50-50 sends the ball down the field. Here comes Rebel. Rebel, can he get the ball on target? Not able to do so. Now we'll be back in the hands of Unicorn Huntress, actually. Looks like they subbed in Unicorn Huntress for, by what it looks like, they subbed in Predude. That's honestly unexpected in my opinion. Predude is probably one of the smartest players in Academy. He's definitely not the most mechanical. He's one of the smartest players in Academy. It always surprises me when I see Havoc Pink subbing in Predude for somebody else. And Unicorn Huntress, he is solid, but it's just compared to Predude, he doesn't have the same experience. So we have to wonder, maybe Havoc Pink believe they got the series in the bag, trying to just rotate around their roster, but Rebel will put this ball in the back of the net, and there we go. Havoc Pink scoring first this time. Here we go. So we're gonna have to wait until it looks like Unicorn Huntress is lagged out of the game. So this would be the best opportunity for Havoc White to come back into this. They're literally 3v2ing Havoc Pink right now. So Havoc Pink, but that's one thing I'll say. If Havoc Pink are able to stave off this 2v3 until Unicorn Huntress comes back, like, this would be honestly an insane story in regards to they're able to win. If they're able to even just keep this game at 1-0. Or maybe they only get scored on once. By the time Unicorn Huntress gets back, their mental will shoot through the roof. That's just what happens when you're down a player, and especially in a tournament setting. If you're able to keep it up, it's honestly insane how that helps out your mental. Now we do have to now Unicorn Huntress lagging out makes us question even more why they subbed out Predude, of course. But I guess we can't judge them. I mean, they just want to sub in all 4 players. But Rebel will pop that ball into the air. We touched out here by the likes of Party Shark. Party Shark into the corner. Now into the side wall once again. Back over to Party Shark. Party Shark trying to maintain possession. Party Shark over to the corner. Back over now to Santa Shark. Now over to Shadow Slayer. Shadow Slayer not able to get the touch that he needs. We're back over now, looking for the possession. Rebel actually getting, and right now Havoc Pink, they're looking good. Now one special note: they cannot sub Predude back in until this game is over. That is, of course, the rules. You can't do mid-game substitutions. But right now, Havoc Pink, they're actually looking solid. Right now, they're playing a lot more defensive, a lot safer. But if they can keep this lead, just this 1-goal lead, they could potentially win the game. And according to Predude in the chat, Unicorn just is showing no sign of returning. Ooh, that's a misflick, though. Opportunity for Shadow Slayer, and he puts it in. Oh, my goodness. That's going to be a tied game, but still 2 minutes left on the clock. Can Unicorn Huntress come back in time to help out his team? And honestly, Havoc Pink, they almost got a goal. The only reason why they got scored on there is one of their teammates messed up possession. I believe it was Rebel. Messed up the possession. Ball back over to Tricky. Tricky. Back over now to Shadow Slayer. Shadow Slayer pops it into the air. Back to Rebel. Rebel taking his possession. Couldn't get it around, managed to get it around one, but couldn't maintain possession. It's up to Tricky now. The good thing about who's 2v3ing right now is when you're 2v3ing, it doesn't necessarily mean you don't necessarily have to be smarter players. As long as you don't double commit, you normally want the most mechanical players out on the pitch. And right now for Havoc Pink, Tricky and Rebel are probably known as one of the more mechanical players in Havoc. So they honestly probably have the best chance out of anybody to win this 2v3. Tricky hopping the ball over to Santa Turtle. Santa Turtle not able to get there. Back to Rebel. Rebel gets a great 50-50. Tricky looking for the follow. Tricky doesn't fully commit to it and lets Rebel try to get a touch. Back over now to Shadow Slayer. He pops it into the air. And we do have to remember, like, everyone's like, why are Havoc White not winning this series by a mile? Now, of course, Havoc Pink, they're looking really solid here in the 2v3. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's a demo. Empty net. Oh, my goodness. And that's a goal. Party Shark puts the ball in. And Mr. Chair, Pre-Dude cannot sub in until the next game. They started this game with Unicorn Hunter, so that's the player that can play at this moment in time. But Havoc Pink, honestly, they look like they might be able to take this. But going back to my initial point, Havoc, when you're in a 3v2, you're kind of in that mindset where you have to win. Or if you get like even getting scored on is detrimental to your mental. If you get scored on by two people in a 2v3. So Havoc White, they're kind of playing it safe. They're playing nervous. But they managed to tie up the game. They managed to bring it back within one. Or they managed to get a goal lead by one. But they have to keep the lead here for 30 more seconds. That's going to be a miss, though. Ball back out to the side. Over to Tricky. Tricky put it off to the corner. Back over to the corner once more. Here comes Shadow Slayer. Popping to mid. Tricky gets a dunk. It's floating towards. Is that an empty net? Havoc Pink score in a 2v3. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Tricky with the dunk over Party Shark. Santa Turtle didn't get the read. And Havoc Pink have tied the game in a 2v3. Oh my goodness, folks. Now this is starting to get exciting. A 2v3. You wouldn't normally expect this to get exciting, but Havoc Pink, those players are good enough to where it's actually a competitive match. Double tap! Oh! If that went in, that would have been fantastic. But we don't see a goal just yet. And ladies and gentlemen, we have an overtime in a 2v3. Imagine if Unicorn Huntress joins back in the party, joins back in the game mid-overtime. Honestly, I think it might put Havoc Pink a little bit of a disadvantage. You'll have to get reused to threes. But here we go. Possession here. Tricky. Putting that ball to solid, launches the ball down the field. It is off target, and Shadow Slayer will easily tap it to the sidewall. Shadow Slayer launching the ball high into the air. Rebel is back. Doesn't get dunked. That's the one thing about it being a 2v3 is that Havoc White, they should be able to just throw their first man at the ball whenever they want now, since there's always going to be two teammates behind them. But that's going to be a bump, and Shadow Slayer will put it in. Very nerve-wracking for Havoc White, but they managed to clutch out the win. If Havoc Pink were able to win that 2v3, that would have probably been the best game of all time. And apparently his PC got unplugged, so that is interesting. But we will have a tied series, albeit not in the fashion we were expected. Look at that, undefined. That was a 2v3 right there. Oh my goodness, look at that. Tricky and Rebel. And they actually still had more demos than the other team, even though it was a 2v3. Although we do have to think Havoc White, maybe Havoc White were being a little bit nicer. We do have to think about that. Havoc White probably were thinking like, hey, it's a 2v3. Well, at least make sure we don't demo the other team. Maybe that was their thought process going into that. And Rebel missing that double tap, it would have been sad. But we're now going to be going on to Sovereign Heights. That's going to be definitely going to be a fun map to play on between these two teams. And we are, I believe we're going to see Pre-Dude sub back in here just because of Unicorn Huntress not being here. But either way, that was still a fantastic match, even in a 2v3. But it looks like, I believe, since Unicorn Huntress lagged out, I believe it kind of messed up the overlay. So, shooting percentage infinity for those players. But here we go. I don't think the players realize they can join in. I only need you to wait for me to say on the first game for me to join. But here we go. But everybody, welcome here to Havoc Esports. Actually, it could have been one of those things where, you know, there's sometimes times in Rocket League where you can get a goal, but you don't get a shot. So if they were able to score without a shot, then that would explain why the infinite shooting percentage, because normally the limit at, the limit as, what's the word? The limit as x approaches 0 of 1 over x is like infinity or something like that. So like, I think that's what it would go over. Since you have 0 shots and 1 goal, it would technically be an infinite shooting percentage. But here we go, Santa Turtle. We'll put that ball out to the side, over to Predude. Predude off the backboard. Now over to Rebel. Rebel ends up leaving it for Predude. Predude ends up getting demoed. Here comes Tricky. Tricky off the backboard, looking for the double. Not able to do so, but Havoc White, they're going to be happy about winning that 2v3 now. They managed to stave off the 2v3, but they're back to 3v3 now. They have to get reused to playing against 3 players, try to add demos back into their game if they want to try and win this game, because they did take the lead in game 1, but ended up losing game 1 6-2. So now going into this game number 3, let's see if they can step up here and try to get the lead once again, but this time maintain it. Here we go. Ball back out to the middle. Back over now to Tricky. Tricky trying to maintain possession, ends up leaving it for Rebel to go. Rebel ends up waiting for a pass from Predude. Predude ends up missing, uncharacteristic from him. He is definitely not known to be as mechanical as his 2 teammates, but still very rare that we see him miss a basic aerial. They're over to Predude. Predude tries to flick the ball over 1, couldn't get it past 1. Tricky now has to get a beat, but Party Shark actually dunks Tricky completely, but still going to remain tied 0-0 as no goals found. Shadow Slayer looking for the touch, isn't able to get it on target. And Party Shark ends up centering it mid, and Santa Turtle will put it home. That's what we want to see here. Havoc White score the first goal of the game, and they're going to look to try and build some momentum off of winning that game 2 and try to win in game number 3. Remember, whoever wins game 3 will be going on match point. Now, even though Havoc Pink are undefeated in all the matches they show up in, they do actually have a lot of game 5s. I believe last season they went to game 5 against Slothhounds, and I believe game 5 against, they went to game 5 against Smoking Guns as well. Don't hold me to that though. It may have been a 3-1. But it looks like Unicorn Huntress is, well, it looks like he's alive, but he will not be able to play until potentially game number 4. Although I don't know if they're going to sub in Unicorn Huntress before then. I don't know if they're going to sub in Unicorn Huntress. Maybe they just go for the win, especially if Havoc White end up winning this game. The ball back over to Predude. Beats 1. We're going to try and get it around. 50's Shadow Slayer. Shadow Slayer takes possession. Shadow Slayer, the only person from the main roster playing right now for Havoc White. Technically, Havoc White are playing with substitutes. Oh my, Tricky gets bumped by his teammate into almost own goaling there. We'll be back over to Shadow Slayer. Shadow Slayer gets the beat. Looking for the possession. Gets it over 1. We'll now be back over to Party Shark. Party Shark puts the ball into the corner. Predude trying to pass it back to Tricky. Tricky puts it right back into Predude, but they're not able to get the Season 1 Kings of Urban shot that we all I remember that shot. I didn't get to see it live, but it definitely circulated around YouTube videos for a while back when that was a thing. Ball back over now to Predude. Predude not able to get the touch that he wants. We'll be back over to Shadow Slayer now. Yeah, Shadow Slayer gets the ball around Rebel. Pinches the ball mid. Now be over to Tricky. Tricky looking for the solo play opportunity here. Flips the ball forward. Rebel looking for the read off the backboard. Tries to pass it down. Predude ends up jumping and Rebel ends up missing. So they're not going to find a goal here, but we're nearing the final minute of play. And we're just not noticing anything coming out in terms of Havoc Pink. They've had one good solo play. But outside of that, they haven't been able to look for any good shots on target. Ball pinches mid. Off to the backboard. Over to Predude now. Predude down to Party Shark. That's going to be a miss. Predude not able to put it on target, so he puts it high off the backboard. Another miss on the backboard read from Rebel, but Tricky ends up finding the goal, and there we go. Havoc Pink back to a tied game. Look at that there from Rebel. Rebel may have missed, but he ends up getting the goal anyway. That's what we like to see. Oh, sorry, Tricky ends up getting the goal anyway. But here we go. 45 seconds left to go. Tied game. Let's see if Havoc Pink has what it takes here to extend the lead. Ball back out to the middle to Predude. That's a pre-jumping Predude. The pre in his name really suiting well in that moment of time. But here comes Rebel. Rebel beating 1. Getting it around 2. We'll be back over now to Shadow Slayer. Shadow Slayer ends up getting dunked. Tricky has an empty net. Pass from Predude and goal from Tricky. Look at that. Excuse me, pass from Rebel. Excuse me. There we go. Look at that from Rebel over to Tricky. That's going to be a goal. And honestly, love what I'm seeing right now from Havoc Pink. They weren't able to find any shots at the beginning of the game. But once they were able to score for the first goal, they finally are starting to put more shots and passes mid. And right now, they're looking extremely confident and poised to try and take this series in the next one. Here we go. 10 seconds left. Can Havoc Pink maintain the lead? Ball back over to Tricky. Tricky. Back over to Shadow Santa Turtle. Into Turtle back to Party Shark. Party Shark misses. Can they keep it in the air? It's off the curve, but he has 0 boost. And Havoc Pink will take game number 3. We won't be seeing a gentleman's sweep here from Havoc White, but it's still possible here, folks. We can still see it. Tricky with a pretty good shooting percentage, but Tricky and Santa Turtle, the only ones with goals, and I believe they're normally the main scorers on either team right now. So seeing them step up here when it matters most is, of course, very, very agreeable. But now we're going to be going into game number 4. So map number 4, Manfield Knight. Between these two teams, Havoc Pink definitely the favorites. I don't think anyone would be the favorites here against Havoc Pink this season, except Forfeits. Forfeits end up being a little bit more of a favorite compared to them. But yeah, going on to Manfield Knight now, so definitely be an interesting set of matches. And honestly, I can't wait to see what ends up happening. So here we go. On to map number 4, Havoc Pink looking to try and take this next game. Do they have what it takes to try and end it in 4, or will Havoc White do what no one's expecting and take it to 5? Here we go, folks, and it looks like we still have Predude in. Havoc Pink looking for the win. Here we go, folks. Off to the races. Let's go. Ball back over to the side wall. Now over to Tricky. Tricky trying to maintain possession here. Looking for the pre-jumping Rebel. Rebel ends up missing the shot. I don't know why Havoc Pink are going for these pre-jumps right now. I've seen them go for it in the past, and it's only ever ended badly. Now, of course, having confidence is one thing, but doing it when it's 0-0 at the beginning of a game, kind of unnecessary. Because if Havoc Pink realizes you just start pre-jumping everything, they're going to find a counter for that. And it looks like Havoc White almost find a counter there. Almost managed to get the first goal of the game. Ball back over now to Santa Turtle. Doesn't get the touch, though. And Rebel, he doesn't get a solid touch either. And it'll be over to Party Shark. Looks like Party Shark has switched off the Fennec onto the Octane. Maybe it'll help him out with his confidence. Just because sometimes all it takes is a simple mindset shift. Just switching to a different car. Because, of course, like going from Fennec to Octane, they're both the same car. But sometimes just getting a little bit different visual might be up to put you in a different mindset to try and win game. But Santa Turtle, staying on the same car as he did the whole series, managed to score the first goal. And Havoc Pink, once again, are now going to have to wait to try and tie up this game. Here we go. 4 minutes left on the clock. Havoc Pink just have to score 1 goal to tie it up. They waited till the last minute last time. Maybe they'll have a quick counterattack. Rebel. Every time Rebel's gone for these double taps, it just doesn't look like he's really reading where that ball is kind of going. He's able to read where the ball is going to maybe bounce, but outside of that, he doesn't really have enough of a read on it to get the angle read to try and score the goal right now. Love to see him try to really focus, not just on the first touch, but looking at where that ball will bounce and go to where that ball will end up going. But here we go. Party Shark looking to take possession. He misses the first touch, but he gets it around 1. Ball back over to Predude. Predude trying to maintain possession here. Ball into the corner. Back over now to Shadow Slayer. Shadow Slayer to Rebel. Rebel ends up getting demoed on the back line, but Tricky has possession. Tricky, though, he's on lower boost. Ends up air dribbling it across his own net. He will get the pinch out to the side wall, but that was a very sketchy little shot right there. Ball back over to Shadow Slayer, putting it off the backboard. And right now, I would love to see some more off-ball. There we go. As I was saying it, Havoc White looking to apply some off-ball pressure. If they're going to want to win this game, they have to have possession. They have to support each other. And most importantly, they have to have that off-ball pressure. Because right now, Havoc Pink, when they get space on the ball, they're able to solo play. They haven't been able to score a solo play yet outside of Tricky's 1 goal. But giving them so much space to solo play and pass is never a good idea. And that off-ball pressure, looking for those bumps, looking for those demos, watching mid, it just makes the other team have a lot more to worry about, and it makes them just that less scary when they're on the offensive end. But there we go, great 50-50. Now Santa Turtle, he ends up rushing it though. Don't like the rush there. He will get the beat over 1, but ends up just setting up Tricky as a pass down to Predude. And Shadow Slayer will turn it away and send it up the field just for Rebel to clear right back. Into the air. Ball gets swapped over to the side wall. To Party Shark. Party Shark into the corner. Oh, it's going to be a miss from Tricky. Santa Turtle had an empty net, but he couldn't put it on target. That was opportunity to go up by 2 goals. And we saw last time, when it's only a 1-goal game, Havoc Pink eventually come back. So right now, Havoc White are going to be looking to try and score a 2nd goal right now. If they don't get that this 2-goal lead, honestly don't know if they have what it takes to win this game. Nevertheless, Havoc White continuing to try and push onto the offensive end of the field. Ball back over to Tricky. Tricky over now to Party Shark. Party Shark back to Rebel. Rebel pops it high onto the backboard to Predude. Predude back to Party Shark. Party Shark manages to get the goal. That's the 2-goal lead we need here from Havoc White. Havoc White playing with their sub and alternate. Looking poised to take Havoc Pink to game 5. Now that would be a magnificent sight to see. Santa Turtle. Back over now. The Shadow. Shadow trying to put that ball forward. That's going to be a team ball right there as they end up on their own teammate, but they end up leaving the ball. Tricky last man back does get the backboard read, and it does get sent out to the ceiling, but here comes Rebel. Rebel gets 50. Back over to the corner. Corner back to Tricky. Tricky now. Over to Party Shark. Party Shark over to the side wall. Now back over to Rebel. Rebel ends up trying to get possession here. He looking for the shot. Not able to get the goal though. We'll be back over now. Ball pinches off the side wall. 40 seconds left. Can Havoc Pink try to get a goal right now? And they do. Tricky brings it back within 1 with 36 seconds to tie the game. Look at that, folks. Havoc Pink. They do not want to take this to a game 5. Havoc Pink may have won all the game 5s they've ever played in, but it doesn't mean they want to go that far. No one likes to play under that nerves. I mean, some people do like the adrenaline, but outside of that, in terms of thinking about your team winning, you never want to think about them. You never want to think about that. You never want to think about going to a game 5 and having to play perfectly. Predude loses the 50. Now back over to Tricky. Tricky ends up not being able to get the read on that ball. Will get flown off the pink backboard. The ball gets sent down the field by Rebel. Predude tried to get the dunk, but it's still on the defensive end for Havoc Pink. Ball back to Rebel. Rebel trying to maintain possession. Looking for the pre-flip possibly, but he ends up getting beat. And Havoc White have taken this series to a game 5. Now everybody, I don't got a co-commentator with me, so I would like y'all's opinions. What do we think Havoc Pink has to do to go back to dominating as they did in game 1? Just right now, even though they were able to win game 3, we haven't seen that same domination that we are normally used to seeing from them. So everybody, let me know in chat what you believe Havoc Pink need to do, as we will get into game 5 here very, very shortly. In my opinion, I think right now they've kind of dropped off on their demo game. It's what I talked about after game 1, where Academy players, once they start getting nervous, they start dropping off on that off-ball pressure. And off-ball pressure is a necessary part of the game, and we're not really seeing that right now from Havoc Pink. That was normally their strong suit, but right now we just haven't seen it. Looks like we got an opinion here from Lawson Lev. More bumps and stronger off-ball plays. There we go. Looks like we're on the same page in terms of the off-ball pressure. We're now going to be going into game number 5. Here we go, folks. Game 5. Havoc White versus Havoc Pink. Who will take the dub here? Remember, if Havoc White end up winning this, they tie Havoc Pink in series differential. And by what it looks like, Havoc Pink would still be above them in the standings, but Havoc White will be solidifying themselves as a top 4 team, up in the ranks with Slothhounds, Havoc Teal, Smoking Guns. They would be a top team if they can end up winning this match. But here we go. Ball back over to Shadow Slayer. High off the ceiling, Havoc Pink getting the first goal, and what were we talking about, folks? We were talking about off-ball pressure, and that's how Havoc Pink scored their first goal. Look at that. Now, I haven't talked about it once today, but Havoc White haven't been playing with their main roster. They're playing with 2 subs. Normally something that Havoc White do really, really well with is no matter what the series score, they play their game. And that's a very hard thing to do. Playing to win, playing their game for an entire series, no matter what's happening, it's a very difficult thing to do. The mentality for it just normally doesn't exist. We've seen it in the past. Smoking Guns, once they get in the lead, they tend to start playing a little bit more nervous. Slothhound, they tend to not be able to hit the ball on target, and apparently Shadow Slayer, as we've just been talking about, doesn't have that issue. They play to win no matter what. And Shadow Slayer, he's like, you know what? I'm beating you, pre-dude, and gets a shot on target, and Tricky's just barely not able to get that save. Here we go, folks. Havoc White tied up the game, and this is what I was talking about. It doesn't matter if that's Game 5. It doesn't matter if you're playing against the current undefeated team throughout the entire season. You're playing, it doesn't matter. You just play your game, and if you trust yourselves, you trust your teammates, you trust your play style, you will eventually win. Now, right now, Havoc Pink, they're tied. They're nervous right now. I can honestly tell Havoc Pink's nervous because right now, Havoc White, they're a new team. They're a new team on the block. They didn't play last split. They just came in split 2 to replace some of the teams that left split 1. And right now, Havoc White are looking as the newbies to try and take on and beat Havoc Pink. Here we go. Tricky puts that ball on target. Will be saved away by the side of Havoc White. Ball bounces towards the backboard. Ooh, a miss there from Havoc White. Off the backboard, follow here from Predude. Predude not able to find the shot. Some uncharacteristic misses here from Predude. Honestly, maybe that sub out for Unicorn Huntress in game 2 could have made Predude maybe a little bit more nervous. He has to fill in some shoes. Ball back over to the side wall. Back over now to Tricky. Tricky trying to maintain possession here. He pitches that ball forward. Looking for the follow. Tricky can't get the 50. Shadow Slayer looking for a long shot. Will get touched away by Rebel. Now over to Predude. Predude gets the ball around 1. Looking to pick up his pace. Ends up not being able to get it around the second player, though. Pass from Tricky to Rebel. Saved away by Havoc White. Another follow-up. No follow-up comes from Havoc Pink. And Havoc White have staved off the offensive Pink once more. But here comes Pink again. Ball back over to Predude. Predude off the backboard. Follow-up here from Tricky. Shot on target. Saved away by Shadow Slayer. Shadow Slayer, the only person on the main roster currently playing for Havoc White. And now when I say main roster, I mean the 3 starters. He's one of the only starters playing tonight. The other 2 players are the sub and alternate, the 4th and 5th man for Havoc White. And they're about to try and take on and beat Havoc Pink, but Predude says no. You know what, Havoc Pink? You have my respect on that one. Predude manages to put this ball off the sidewall and in. Havoc Pink looking ready to try and take this series here. But then, even though they scored the first goal last time, it was a quick tie-up from Shadow Slayer. And Shadow Slayer is honestly looking insane at this moment in time. He's looking confident. He's looking ready to try and take the Havoc Pink all the way to, at minimum, overtime. Tricky looking for the bump, but Predude ends up not being able to get it around Shadow Slayer. Over to Santa Turtle. Santa Turtle gets beat to the ball by Rebel. Rebel looking for the beat past 1, and Havoc Pink score again. There we go. This is the Havoc Pink that we've been used to the entire season so far, where they take possession, they look for the bumps, they look like the best team on the field, they look confident, and that's what we're finally seeing here. Do they have what it takes, though? Can they get the win? Can Havoc Pink continue having this 2-goal lead? Game 1 was 6-2, and we're well on our way to get back to that scoreline right now. Havoc Pink, it looks like they're taking a few more games to warm up after the 2v3 situation, but they're back in the game, and they're looking to win here. Havoc Pink now up 4-1. Oh my goodness, folks. They're looking to do it. They're looking to try and beat Havoc White. Not in the cleanest fashion ever, but Havoc Pink necessarily have never been clean. They have a lot of series that aren't sweeps, and right now they're looking to add another one of those wins, those little bit unclean wins, to their total. Ball back over now. The corner. Back over to Rebel. Rebel misses, but another goal line miss there. We'll leave Tricky, the empty net, 5-1. And it looks like, this is what I was worried about, Havoc White with their main roster normally play to win no matter what. But that will end up being a goal on the board once again for Havoc Pink. And that's a sad thing we have to realize here about Havoc White, is they are playing with a sub and an alternate. I mean, in a way, I guess that's also a good thing. They're playing with a sub and an alternate and took what most people consider the best team in the league to Game 5. Honestly, that's honestly great to see. Ball back over now to Pre-Dude. Pre-Dude ends up getting a goal there. Solid stuff. And it looks like game number 5 will be solidly in favor of Havoc Pink. But good job, everybody. Well, honestly, we do have to give Havoc White our commemoration here. They played amazing, especially with the sub and an alternate. Shadow Slayer is the main starter, showing up, playing well. Honestly, it's great. It's been a great thing to see between all these different teams. But coming up next, we have Havoc Purple versus Havoc Teal. Havoc Purple looking to try and keep their season alive right now, whereas Havoc Teal, they're currently second in the standings. That will be coming up here after this match. And Havoc Purple, hold up, everybody. I mean, I've seen 4 goals in 36 seconds before. Although, I don't know if Havoc White are going to be able to do it against Havoc Pink, but, I mean, I guess they're just saying, hey, the game's not over here. Keep focused on us. And you know what? I will. I'll keep focusing on this series here until the very end. Either way, though, solid stuff from Havoc Pink and Havoc White, and they're looking to try and get the dub here in game number 5. Looks like we've now at the 30-second mark. A miss from Shadow Slayer. Ball bounces mid. A bump will open up some space. But Tricky with the touch there. It looks like that will be the end of the game. We'd have to see a goal every 5 seconds. And it looks like Havoc White can't even get it into the opposing team's goal box. So it looks like that will be the end of series number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for showing up. And coming up next, we'll have Havoc Purple versus Havoc Teal. Can't wait to see. But honestly, I wouldn't have this match go any other way. Fantastic set of stuff, and it looks like the ball will hit the ground. Havoc Pink with the dub, and we'll be seeing both these teams next week trying to solidify their spots at either the top of the standings or at least out of the elimination spots. But there we go. A lot more demos, a lot more play. But thank you, everybody, here for showing up to series number 1. Coming up next, as I've said, Havoc Purple versus Havoc Teal. Currently, Havoc Purple, they are 1-3. Havoc Purple are last in the standings, but they're tied with Slothhounds, Havoc Orange, and Cypher Black in series differential. All those teams are currently 1-3, and they're all separated by 1 game differential apiece. Slothhounds sitting at 5th place, 1-3, with a -4 game differential. Havoc Orange with a -5 gift differential. Cypher Black with a -5 differential. And Havoc Purple with -6. So Havoc Purple, they're going to be trying to beat the current tied for 2nd place best team in the league right now, Havoc Teal. They're going to have to try and beat that squad to try and even stay alive in this split. But everybody, that will be it for the first match of the night, and I hope you guys all enjoy a little bit of break. Come back here in a few minutes because we got another set of matches here waiting for you. See you guys in a bit. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Havoc Academy League. I'm your host, HBC Luke, and sorry for the long break, but we had a forfeit. Havoc Purple heard they were the bottom of the standings, and Havoc Purple were like, you know what? We're gonna step up and forfeit tonight. They're not gonna try. They're not gonna try and get out of the bottom too. So they will have to win, I believe, their next 2 series. So next week they'll have to win their 2 series to maybe make the split 2 playoffs, and then they have to hope they can maybe make the academy playoffs now. So I don't know why they weren't prepared to show up this week, but sad times, it happens, I guess. Oh well. But Going to our next match, we have Team Cypher Black versus Havoc Orange. This should be an exciting match. I can't wait to see how this one will end up going. In my opinion, I do think that Havoc Orange are the slight favorites. Now, I'm gonna check real quick on if they on what the series score was the last time they played. But overall, I mean, this should be a very exciting match. And honestly, I don't know who would end up. Yeah, Havoc Orange won in Game 5 the last time these two teams played. And looking at the standings for this split, Havoc Orange and Cypher Black are actually tied. Cypher Black and Havoc Orange are currently 1-3 in the series differential and -5 in the game differential. They're currently tied. So whoever wins this series will be putting themselves in a really good spot. They'll be tied with Havoc White in terms of series differential, putting them at the middle of the standings. Going into next week, where we're going to potentially be doing a doubleheader, it'll be very exciting to see how these two teams end up progressing. But overall, it's definitely going to be exciting to see who will end up getting the dub here in the match tonight. Without further ado, we've been waiting far long enough. Thank you to everybody who's been patiently waiting for the next match. But let's get started here, folks. Can't wait to see how this one's going to go, everybody. And I think, well, Havoc Orange, I think, are definitely the slight favorite. Havoc Orange have stepped up just that little bit more throughout the entire season. But we're now going to be going into this next game right here. Cypher Black versus Havoc Orange. Here we go, folks. Let's see if they have what it takes. Which team will end up on top and which team will end up getting dropped even further below. Remember, whoever loses this, they won't be as bad as Havoc Purple, but they'll still be in the bottom 2 in terms of the standings. So no matter what, these teams are going to be looking to try and sweep this series. No matter what, both these teams are trying to sweep the series to get themselves as far away from the bottom of the scoreboard as possible. So here we go. Judo Cat. Back over to Papa. Papa ends up 15 that ball over to Adam for the win. Back over now to Judo Cat. Judo Cat's normally the man who steps up the most here for Cypher Black, and he's moved a lot over the entire season. Still looking to try and solidify himself as one of the better players in Academy. He's one of the lower, he's not the highest rank, because we have a lot of players in Academy that have actually managed to achieve GC at this moment in time. So he's really trying to just show himself up as one of the best team players here in Academy, where he can step up when it matters most and really put on a good show. Right, so far, yet to see any real good chances. Papa Fluff looking for the double tap there. It looks like Papa's been improving his mechanics here over the last few weeks of break, since of course we did have since we did have RLCS qualifiers, where we got to witness, of course, a lot of our teams participate and do really well. And one of those teams being, of course, S5 Cosmic's team. He's currently on Havoc Gold in the Havoc main league. But unlike other players who play with their main team, Cosmic is a little bit too higher ranked compared to the rest of the league for them to really have any reason to play in the Havoc League with his main team. But he still plays with a B+ player in Pixacar and a B player in terms of J-Keys. So here we go. That's going to be the first goal on the board here for Cypher Papa, assisted by X-Tac. And that will be Cypher Black on the board first. Now, if last series is anything to go by between these two teams, Havoc Orange and Cypher Black going all the way to a Game 5, I would expect this series to do the same. However, normally series that go to Game 5, the next one normally doesn't end up that way, because NRG, the last time they played M80 back in Regional 1, I believe they won 3-1 or 3-2. And then literally in the next regional, they play each other and then M80 sweeps. So like, it can be completely different. But Fahrenheit going to be the man to step up here for Havoc Orange, and we're going to have a tied game. Now, in my opinion, I think this series will definitely be a close match, at least 1v1 wise, between Fahrenheit and Judo Cat. Both these players are the captains. Both of them step up when it matters most, and both kind of see themselves as a little bit of that carry. Now, I will say Judo Cat is a little bit better about playing as a team in nervous moments. But, of course, Fahrenheit, he does have higher level mechanics than some other players here in this lobby. So, it'll definitely be interesting. It'll definitely be a battle of mechanics versus a battle of team play and smarts. And don't get me wrong, Fahrenheit is still very smart at the game. But Judo Cat, of course, kind of makes it his specialty. And that's kind of what you need in Rocket League. You need that specialty to really push you forward. And Judo Cat, his teamwork and being in the right spot. Fahrenheit is using his mechanics to try and open up space. Let's see if they can keep it going, though. Still sad that Havoc Purple ended up having to forfeit their match. Havoc Teal, though, going to be happy to be sitting at second in the leaderboard. We do have to remember, if Smoking Guns lose one game, I believe Team Teal will actually be on top. Looking at the game differential right now, so if Smoking Guns end up losing one series, and if they lose a series and the rest of the series are not in sweeps, then Havoc Teal will actually be taking over first seed, assuming they win their next 2 matches as well. So it's definitely going to be interesting going over the next couple of weeks. Ball back over now to Judo Cat. Judo Cat popping it out the sidewall here to Papa Fluff. Papa Fluff putting it on target, and Cypher Black will put another goal in the back of the net. Now, honestly, I believe I wasn't commentating the last time these two teams played. It was another commentators of ours that were commentating at the time. So I honestly don't know how that last series got. I don't know if it was a reverse sweep situation. I don't know if it was back and forth. I don't know if it was just one team was dominating in the middle and one other teams at the end. Who knows? Honestly, I have no clue. But right now, if there's anything to go by, it was most likely a close series. I mean, look at this game right here. Just game number 1. Minute left on the clock, only a 1-goal game, and it's been back and forth already just in game number 1. Papa trying to flick that ball forward. Ends up getting it over 1. Papa, though, looking very mechanical. We talked about how this series would probably be a match between Judo Cat and Fahrenheit, but it's also a question of who's going to step up to help their star players. And right now, Papa Fluff looking like a standout player in game 1, even over Judo Cat. Now, Papa Fluff does get demoed by a great attempt there from Havoc Orange to try and get this ball out of their own half, but a miss, setting up Judo Cat, and looks like a bump attempt was tried there from Cypher Black, but Cypher Black will end up going up 2 goals here. And actually, no, it was a pass off the backboard. It wasn't a demo attempt. Look at that, X-Tac. Again, a brilliant pass, setting up a brilliant goal for Cypher Black. Ball will get pinched out to the sidewall here for Papa Fluff. Papa Fluff punches that ball forward. Over to Adam for the win. Adam for the win. Off the backboard. Over to Judo Cat. Judo Cat putting it off the corner now. Back over to Jossmain. Jossmain not able to get there. Loop sent off the backboard. It's going to be an into an empty net, and Judo Cat stepping up. Judo Cat heard that one of his teammates might be outshining him, and he's going to put in his second goal of the game as an assist as well. All he needs is an exterminator. We can call it a Gordie Howe hat trick here from Rocket League, or at least as close as we could get it. I don't know if cars can really fight. You know, maybe if they keep ramming into each other until one of them, you know, gets demoed or something. Maybe that would be the equivalent of a Gordie Howe hat trick from hockey. But I think we're only playing Rocket League. And right there, that will be game number 1, going over to Cypher Black in a dominant fashion. And like I said, I thought Havoc Orange would be the slight favorites here in the series, but going in after game 1, it looks like Cypher Black might actually be the favorites. Now, just because I think they're the favorites now does not mean that they can't still lose. Cypher Black in the past have had hard times winning multiple games in a row. So it's going to be an uphill battle, I think. Even though Havoc Orange did lose game 1, I think Cypher Black will be fighting an uphill battle no matter how this series ends up going. But here we go. We're now going to be going on to Beckwith Park Stormy, my personal favorite map. Would only get superseded by a Sovereign Heights Stormy, you know. I think that would be the best match ever if there was a Sovereign Heights Stormy. But here we go, folks, into game number 2. Let's see how this one ends up going. Here we go. Ball into the offensive corner here for Cypher Black. Judo Cat looking for the 50. Loses the back to Papa. Papa ends up getting completely beat with that ball. It's a 2-on-1. Adam for the win with a long shot. It's off the crossbar, but a great touch there from X-Tac. And even a little bit of a team pinch. Gets the ball all the way out to the midfield. Now, Cypher Black, they've been improving a lot. They've really been putting in work. They've been putting in effort. They've been trying to get to a spot where they can really show off their stuff. And here we go. Ball will get pinched over to Judo Cat. Judo Cat trying to maintain possession here. Ends up leaving it for Papa Fluff. Like I said, Even though Fahrenheit and Judocat are the standout players, then the main question we're going to ask ourselves is who's going to step up on each team to help out their captain. Right now it's Judocat saying, "Oh, captain," but who will respond? Who will respond on his team to really step up? So far, it's been Papa Fluff stepping up for Cypher Black, but we've yet to see someone step up for Havoc Orange to help out Fahrenheit. And even Fahrenheit right now, we've not seen as much possession as we normally do from him. Fahrenheit reminds me a lot of his main league counterpart in terms of Tazaro. Tazaro is a lot lower ranked than everyone else, but he's so good at taking 50s and possession. When it comes to being in a team environment, he's able to play against any team and really perform. And Fahrenheit's kind of the same way, but just the academy version of that. He's able to take possession, he's able to force it, he's able to use his teammates really well. It's just right now we haven't really seen him on the offensive end. We haven't seen him take those possessions. So far, it's just been Cypher Black beating everybody on Orange to the ball. Adam for the win. Lose the 50 back to Jossmain. Jossmain sends the ball up high. Looking for the corner read. Pops the ball out mid to Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit not able to get the touch. Ball back over to Cypher Papa. To Adam for the win. And for the win now over to X-Tac. X-Tac can't get the ball. Back over to Judocat. Judocat to Papa. Papa through the air. Over to Fahrenheit, and Fahrenheit can't get the touch there. We'll back over to X-Tac. X-Tac off the backboard. Looking for the Doomsy dish. Saved away by Havoc Orange. And now still tied 0-0. And as I say that, oh, captain, my captain, Judocat puts that ball in the back of the net. Just in time for my plug from Luke for the night. Welcome to Zaro here to the chat. And I think someone was asking where the mods are earlier. I mean, it looks like we got 2 mods in chat again. I mean, outside myself, we got Tazaro and Osiris here in the chat. There we go. But Judocat through the air. Ball back over to Adam for the win. To Jossmain. Jossmain to Fahrenheit. Ends up not being able to get there. Over to the side wall. Back over now, up to the ceiling. And he leaves it for Judocat. Judocat ends up getting beat. That might be an empty net. Shot. It's on target. And who else but Fahrenheit to get the goal for Havoc Orange. And we're back tied at 1. Now, Havoc Orange, we're not... It's weird. Because right now, it looks like Cypher Black are controlling this game completely. Even though they just got scored on, it was more due to their mistake rather than Havoc Orange's outplay. So Havoc Orange, I really want to see them step up in one part of the field. Can we see possession? Can we see... Oh my goodness, that looked like an empty... What just happened? I got so confused. I saw an empty net for a second. And it looked like by the time Fahrenheit got to the ball, it was an empty net. But then it went off the post. I don't know what's happening right here, folks. But still tied at 1. At the end of the day, goals are only thing that matters at the very end of the day. And right now, both teams are tied. We need one of them to try and get that goal. Which team will end up getting the lead here? Jossmain tries to pinch it, but Papa Fluff 50s the ball, and we got a rule 1 here, folks. 2v2 game mode. Starting off, ball gets launched down. Which team is the better 2v2ers? Judocat shoots, and he scores once again. Honestly, I don't even have to say he scores anymore. All I have to say is Judocat shoots. And everyone else in chat, you respond, he scores, because that's what Judocat does. It's expected at this moment in time. And right now, with 1.5 minutes left on the clock, Cypher Black in a fantastic spot here. Back to Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit to Cypher Judocat. Now back over to the sidewall. Here comes Papa Fluff. Papa Fluff ends up giving away the ball this time, though. And Jossmain uses all his boost to try and get a 50 that he can't get to. Ball rolling about the backboard. And now, as time continues to wane, Cypher Black maintaining the lead. Can they do so for the final minute? Ball back out to the middle. Fahrenheit looking to try and pass the ball to the corner. Looking to set up something up for his teammate, but ends up setting up Papa Fluff. Ball gets sent down the field over to Judocat. Down to the corner. Back over now to X-Tac. X-Tac through the air. X-Tac back over to Adam for the win. Send the ball down the field. Fahrenheit with the goal! Or I should say own goal. And a brilliant own goal. I believe Fahrenheit was actually on one of our YouTube short clips for the week for an own goal, but it wasn't him who owned gold. It was Papa Fluff who owned gold. And it looks like Fahrenheit just paid him back. 3-1 lead for Cypher Black. And with 40 seconds left to go. Oh my goodness. Speaking of YouTube, everybody, since we are currently at a 2-goal deficit, if you guys are on Twitch, you can go to our YouTube channel. We are also streaming live on YouTube if you want to watch back the videos. The VODs on Twitch will be published afterwards, of course. But also, we are also be posting a lot of shorts and videos on YouTube over the next couple of weeks here, as we got a lot of big things coming here, especially for the end of the Havoc season. So be sure to tune in and go !YouTube and follow us on YouTube, or do !socials and follow us on any of the socials that you guys want. But here we go, 1 second left, and that will be Havoc Orange having to reverse sweep to try and keep themselves out of the bottom of Havoc. Remember, if Havoc Orange lose this, they're still only 1 game above Havoc Purple, who ended up forfeiting earlier. Looks like we got a message here in the chat here from Tazaro. No worries. They're going to be the 3rd reverse sweep of today to follow up Koi and SSG. True, true, true. And technically, M80 also had a reverse sweep today. They reverse swept Shopify in the group stage as well. There you go. That's according to my calculations of tonight. But we're now going to be going on to Sovereign Heights to see if Havoc Orange can prohibit the sweep from happening. And honestly, the games have been close until the very, very end. So if Havoc Orange can score first, I can see them taking Game 3. And if you can take Game 3, you can take any other game after it as well. Here, yeah, there we go. Correcting it to the 4th match, 4th reverse sweep if it does end up happening. And reverse sweeps seem to be a Havoc special. Honestly, I will claim that the Havoc League probably has the most best-of-7 reverse sweeps under its belt. We've had 2 in the playoffs, and we've also had public tournaments where the grand finals is also a reverse sweep in a best-of-7. And I'm going to be honest, I try my best to not be a biased commentator, but in the public tournament, the team that was winning was being very, very toxic, typing in chat mid-game and everything like that. So seeing them get reverse swept in a best-of-7 in the grand finals was honestly really good. And we only give, and it was a $30 tournament, so we only gave it to the first place team. But there we go. Fahrenheit will end up scoring here first. Havoc Orange. This is what they needed, as I said. And look at that touch there from Fahrenheit's teammate. Oh my, fantastic goal there. And Havoc Orange now on the board first, looking to try and take game number 3 into their own hands. Flying through the air is Papa Fluff and Jossmain, and fake. Let's go. Fake goal. Calculated fake goal. Havoc Orange end up letting that ball into the back of the net, but it's all calculated here, folks. Jossmain, he faked it. He tried to make it seem like Cypher Black could come back into the game. And here's where Havoc Orange score 3 goals in a row, everybody. It's going to happen, everybody. Watch this, watch this. But here we go. Adam for the win. Sends the ball down the field to X-Tac. X-Tac over to the side wall. Back over to Papa. Papa puts the ball over the side wall. Ends up missing that one. And it'll be back over to Adam for the win. Adam for the win, leaving it for Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit on low boost, though. Gets a 50-50. That tends to be the biggest weakness of Havoc Orange. Fahrenheit might be the best player on his team, but in doing so, he kind of turns to trying to carry himself. And normally that relies into, even if he has 0 boost, he still cuts on every single ball. He still tries to take possession himself. I would love to see Fahrenheit in a moment like this where they have to reverse sweep, really try to set himself in one spot and realize, okay, I'm going to trust my teammates and we're going to all do our jobs properly. And if he can do that, I think Havoc Orange will have what it takes to win a series like this, because that's when Havoc Orange win. Havoc Orange win when all 3 players are putting in effort to try and win the game. And if it's only Fahrenheit playing on the ball, then we might not see them win. Cypher Pop again with a great offensive blow. Put that ball over to Jossmain, and Jossmain will score a great defensive demo from Papa Fluff, but it ends up not working out as Jossmain solos this goal. Top left corner. What a fantastic shot. 3.5 minutes left to go in game number 3. Ball pops up into the air, and Papa will put that ball to the sidewall. Over to Judo Cat. Judo Cat ends up getting beat. Will now be over into his own corner, leaving it for X-Tac. X-Tac has been a brilliant addition to this roster. And it's honestly, like, we have to remember that Cypher Black, they replace a West or Notice Dawn with X-Tech, because Noticed On ended up going to the main league Cypher team just for their team to not make the top 8 in the main league. So right now, Cypher Black, they're looking to try and do what West new team might not even be able to do. Looking to try and make it to the playoffs, and then try to make it to top 2. That's what Cypher Black are playing here for. They're trying to make the split 2 playoffs, try to solidify themselves in the top 6 in points, and then, of course, then they would be in contention to play in the Academy playoffs for those top 2 spots. Of course, Smoking Guns and Havoc Pink will probably be everyone's favorite to try and make that top 2 to make it into the last chance qualifier. But we did have an instance of one of the last chance qualifier teams in main league forfeiting last season, and we were able to sub in a third team, Heavy Triggers from Academy last season, or ended up being a team that participated, even though they were the 3rd best team in Academy. But here we go, Adam for the win. The Jossmane. Jossmane gets a great 50-50 there. This game's still tied at 2. It's a very tense situation. It honestly hasn't felt that tense. The goal, like, they haven't really been hard-fought goals. Both teams have gotten pretty easy goals compared to everything else in this series. So let's see if they can continue going forward with that in mind, or will we have this game go tied all the way to overtime? But that'll be a miss from Adam for the win. This is what we talked about. We need to see Havoc Orange outside Fahrenheit step up. We saw Jossmane step up. We've seen Papa Fluff on Cypher Black step up. But will we see Adam for the win step up here when it matters most? Ball gets launched down the field. Judocat intercepts that one. We'll be back over to Papa. Up and pops it high into the air. Here comes X-Tac. X-Tac gets a 50. Will be Fahrenheit into the air high first. We can try and use his boost to follow it. Great follow there. Ends up not being able to get the ball past Judocat though. And be over to Papa, who tries to clear it down the field. Over to Jossmane. Jossmane gets beat. Now over to Judocat. Judocat sends it forward to Fahrenheit, and it will be touched out to the side. Back over now to the backboard. Here comes Papa Fluff. Papa Fluff not able to get there. We'll be back over now to Jossmane. Jossmane trying to maintain possession. Gets the 50-50 there. We'll be back over now to X-Tac. X-Tac gets dunked. Final minute approaching. And it looks like it's now here, folks. Final minute of play in Game 3. X-Tac through the air, looking to air dribble past everybody. Air dribbles 50s 1. Will be sent now over to Papa Fluff, who tries to pass it mid to Judocat. Judocat taking his time. Off the side wall. Ends up not being able to get the reset. And Havoc Orange will start their counter offensive. A double miss there from Havoc Orange. And X-Tac will pop the ball forward in an awkward spot. Fahrenheit touched the ball that maybe he didn't need to go for. And now we're nearing 30 seconds with Cypher Black looking just that little bit cleaner here in Game 3. And that's to be expected. At the end of the day, they're winning by 2 games right now. Whereas Havoc Orange, we haven't really seen the Havoc Orange we know and love in this series so far. Papa Fluff. Is it getting beat there? We're back over now to Judocat. Judocat. Over to X-Tac. X-Tac ends up getting beat there. We'll be back over now to the side. Here comes X-Tac. X-Tac gets beat. The Judocat. Judocat leaving it for X-Tac. Pinch there with Papa Fluff. Ball's in the air. Pass mid. Pass to X-Tac. It's a goal! And Cypher Black win at 0 seconds. And look at the team play. To Papa, to X-Tac. He shoots and 50s hit in the back of the net. What is that? 0 seconds, and they go for the team play. So unselfish. And that's what allows Cypher Black to get their revenge from Split 1. And get the win. Oh my god, look at that, everybody. Cypher Black doing what they weren't able to do last season. Havoc Orange won in Game 5. And this split, Cypher Black end up sweeping Havoc Orange. Now, if that isn't a comeback story, I don't know what is. But here we go. But overall, still a fantastic set of things, everybody. And that will be the end of our 3rd series of the night. Oh my. I don't know what to say about that series here, folks. It was a brilliant show. Cypher Black showed up. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all we got to say. Cypher Black showed up. And now we're going to be going to what used to be their old brethren, Smoking Guns Gaming. They'll be coming up next. And that should be a very, very interesting series here. Smoking Guns versus Slothhounds, the old semifinal match. I believe of the, not the semifinal match, the seeding tournament rematch. Smoking Guns versus Slothhounds. These teams played, and Smoking Guns won 4-2 in that best of 7. That will be coming up right now here after the break. But everybody, before we go to that break, just a reminder to follow us on our socials, !mark socials. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, of course, Twitch, and everything like that. !mark socials in the Twitch chat. And of course, if you're on YouTube, just do go to at Havoc Esports RL on literally any social media platform, and you'll be able to find all our socials there. And everybody in Twitch, if you want to find our YouTube, watch back the VOD, or see our shorts, any of our new videos coming out over the next couple of weeks, do ! YouTube, and you'll be able to find it there. Everybody, we're going to be going here to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be seeing Smoking Guns versus Slothhounds. See you guys all in a bit. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Havoc Academy League. I'm your host, HVC Luke, and we got our final match of the night coming up right here, right now. It's time to witness what were one of the top 3 teams versus the current best team, at least in terms of standings right now. We got Smoking Guns Gaming versus Slothhounds. Slothhounds, they've made a couple grand finals. They've lost to Smoking Guns every single time they've played. But Slothhounds, they're a team that wants to improve. They're a team that want to prove themselves. All right, Smoking Guns, they're trying to keep the perfect record going for this split. They're currently 4-0, the only team that's 4-0. Everyone else was 3-1, 2-2, and 1-3. So we had no one 0-4, luckily. But still, Slothhounds are one of those teams that is currently sitting at 1-3, I believe. So they're going to be looking to try. They do not want to be going 1-4, because Slothhounds would be going from like one of the 3rd best teams in the league to maybe not even making the Split 2 playoffs. But that will be happening right now. That match will be happening right here, right now. Let's see if these players can get it. And we got a lovely message from Speed Demon saying, good luck, love y'all boys, to the side of Smoking Guns. These players all know each other. I believe in the past they've played in different leagues, or they currently still do play in different leagues, and they all know each other from that. But here we go, folks. Smoking Guns Gaming versus Slothhounds. We're ready here to see who will end up getting the dub. Me personally, I don't know who's going to end up winning this one, but either way, I believe this match will be a close one. Here we go. Because even though Slothhounds have not been winning their series, most of them have been Game 5. Slothhounds just don't know how to win Game 5s. If I'm being completely honest with you, Slothhounds don't know how to win Game 5s. But what they do know how to do is keep it close and take games off the best teams in the league. Slothhounds have gone to Game 5 against Havoc Pink. Slothhounds, they've taken it all the way against Smoking Guns in the past. And right now, we're seeing them try and win their first series here against Smoking Guns. I believe they've not won. I will double check that here while we're waiting for this first match here to really get started. But I believe these two teams have also, back in the seeding tournament, grand finals, Team Cypher, now known as Smoking Guns Gaming, beat Slothhounds. And then, in the final week of Havoc, last split, Slothhounds had to forfeit. It was a 3 to forfeit for Smoking Guns Gaming. And then in the semifinals, Smoking Guns 4-3'd Slothhounds. It went all the way to 7, and Smoking Guns came out on top. So right now, Slothhounds are looking to try and get their first ever win against Smoking Guns. Now, granted, all the series have been close. It's a 4-2 and a 4-3 for Smoking Guns. So right now, Slothhounds, we're going to be looking to, and we talked about it before. I mean, Havoc Orange, they went to Game 5 and won against Team Cypher Black. And then in Split 2, they play against each other, and Cypher Black sweep. So maybe that's what we see here. Maybe we can see Slothhounds do what probably no one's expecting and get a sweep over Smoking Guns. But that's going to be the second missed empty net in a row for Slothhounds. Granted, they had to beat a player to that empty net, but at the end of the day, that's still 2 missed opportunities that they're going to be wanting back. Back over to I Dug Yo Grave. Still one of the best names in Havoc, in my personal opinion. And looking playstyle-wise, one thing we're really going to be looking for, in Smoking Guns is seeing if they can keep picking up on that off-ball pressure. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about how important off-ball pressure is. And in Split 1, Academy didn't even need to be told that. There were a lot of demos no matter what, And it would seem like as players got better mechanically throughout the season, they actually dropped off on demos. But that's the one thing people forget. Like, you can improve your mechanics, but off-ball pressure is a necessary part of the game. It's something that Smoking Guns have been working on throughout this entire season. They're still not perfect at it, but I want them to see them continue to look at that. Zay looking for a bump there on the goal line. But still yet to find a goal here between either of these teams. Off-ball pressure, such a vital skill to learn how to get those demos, looking for those boost steals, looking to try and be a blindside pass receiver. All of those are versions of off-ball pressure that we need to see Academy pick up if they're going to try and beat some of the main league teams in that last chance qualifier. Now that would be something. Imagine if an Academy team not only won their first series against a main league team in a 3v3 setting, but made the championships. Now that would be something special. Now, will it happen? I don't know. But is it possible? I think it's definitely possible. And Smoking Guns, I think Smoking Guns, out of all teams, would have the best chance against a main league team. Even though Havoc Pink have found a way to beat Smoking Guns every time they've played, I do think Smoking Guns mechanically have what it takes to beat a main league team. Because Havoc Pink, they're just a better team. But main league teams, they're just higher ranked. That's why they were put in main league in the first place. So Smoking Guns come in with better mechanics or a little bit more team skill than a main league team. We can see them actually make the championship. Because once you make the last chance qualifier, you just have to win two series. You have to win one best of 5 and one best of 7 in order to qualify, and then of course you play one more best of 7 after that for seeding purposes. But that's something we're going to be looking for here in this series. Can Smoking Guns pick up the off-ball pressure? Can they show themselves as a top team? Not just a top Academy team, but a top team. But I Dug Yo Grave ends up having essentially an empty net. Nobody on Smoking Guns wanted to challenge him, but it still goes off the crossbar. Slothhounds, their only enemy in every series we've seen them in, seems to be the crossbar. Ball. Back out into the middle here. Stick to Kazoo. Waiting in the wings. Waiting to see if his teammates will get a pass across, but Kilo, great done. We talked about how earlier Tricky and Rebel were probably some of the most mechanical players in Havoc, but back in the Havoc Academy League. But most people will probably consider Kilo the most mechanical out of everybody in the entire Academy League. He's not just one of the most mechanical, he is the most mechanical. But even with that, Slothhounds and Smoking Guns tied 0-0 in the first game. Oh my goodness, going into overtime between these two teams. Now I will say Slothhounds have had the most opportunities, it's just been stopped by the crossbar every single time. Whereas Smoking Guns, they haven't really had any opportunities. They had one demo attempt, but outside of that, there's been nothing else but Sea Demon. He shoots, and it's an own goal for Smoking Guns. And Slothhounds will pick it up and win game number 1. They may have hit the crossbar 4 times, but at least on the 4th one, it also bounced in the net. But there we go, folks. That's game number 1 to Slothhounds. And look at that. Off-ball pressure was not as much of a factor. Smoking Guns, they had one demo apiece, but outside those demos, I didn't really see any threatening demos. I didn't see, on defense, there were no demos for Smoking Guns, whereas on Slothhounds, they had an offensive demo that really worked out, as well as a defensive demo, both being done by Sticky Kazoo. So overall, it looks like the more appropriate demos, the better demos, were taken control of by Slothhounds. So now we're going to be going on to Beckwith Park Stormy to see if Smoking Guns can try and fight back. This is I believe this is the first game 1 Smoking Guns have lost. They have not lost a single game 1 throughout the entire season until right now. And it's honestly, that's very surprising. Smoking Guns are normally known for coming out strong and then getting weaker as the time goes on. But they're starting off weak here in game number 1. So let's see if they have what it takes. We've not seen them come from behind this entire season so far, but maybe they can do it this time. Here we go, folks. Starting off strong here is Speed Demon, sending the ball high into the Smoking Guns offensive half. Ball back over to the middle. I Dug Yo Grave. He shoots the ball past one, and it looks like the 4th man will be the one that stops him again. Ball back over to Sticky Kazoo. He sends it off high into the backboard. Follow-up shot, saved by Mr. Chair. It was a brilliant shot, but an even more fantastic save as Mr. Chair with gets the save on the goal line. Not something you ever really expect to see, but that pre-jump read of Smoking Guns was just immaculate. Now can they keep that defense going? It was only a 1-0 win in overtime. It looks like another great goal line save, but this time in terms of slot downs. This series looks like it's shaping up to be one of those 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Now, in terms of RLCS, it's happened twice, I believe. In South America, there's been 2 series where a team has swept, but it was 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. The shortest game possible in terms of commentating. Now, it looks like we're not going to see that here, folks, as Smoking Guns do finally put one in. But that would be something spectacular to be able to witness. A 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Like, at that point, who cares if the other team manages to come back and try to reverse sweep? But if you get to game 3 and it's only been 2 goals to start the sweep, I mean, that's always something. Like, those little bits of history are always great to be able to witness. We won't be able to witness it this time. And I believe it's never happened in Havoc history, if I remember correctly. And I've been playing / commentating since Season 1 of Havoc, so long time for that to happen. I think the best time for that to happen would have probably been when Academy used to play in main league. That would probably been the best time where a team could have tried to win 1-0 every single game. But of course, players might take that as trolling or not trying as hard, and it wouldn't have been the real scoreline. So that's probably most likely why it didn't end up happening back then. But here we go. 1-0 lead for Smoking Guns. Slotdown still having the crossbar struggles that have been plaguing them this entire split. Speed Demon gets beat to the ball. It will now be over to Sticky Kazoo. Try and touch this one. He will 50 that ball out. A great dunk from Speed Demon. We'll get the ball out to the midfield line, but it's held in by Smoking Guns. Speed Demon 50s it back to Sticky Kazoo. Sticky Kazoo, he's definitely seems like the most mechanical player on the side of Slotdowns, but we don't really see much solo plays. Normally we see passes that result in a crossbar hit from Slotdowns, very similar to G2 with the World Championship Grand Final. A lot of passes, but multiple crossbars. We have a great demo there from Zay. Is going to open up some space on the defensive end for them. But a fake will end up getting all around Speed Demon. Looking to try and carry his team here. He has the 1 goal in game 1 in the overtime. He's going to be looking to try and tie up this game here for his team. Speed Demon trying to step up here. The last couple of weeks, we haven't really seen the same Speed Demon from Split 1. The Speed Demon that was carrying the veteran. But right now, we're seeing him try to step up. At least try and step up here for his team. Try and get the win. All get hit down the field, and again, Sticky Kazoo giving away possession. He's so great when he does take possession, but we never really see him do it. Sticky Kazoo pops that ball high into the air. Back over to Gilgrave. Back over now to Zay. Zay ends up not being able to get to that one. So back over to Kilo. Kilo trying to look for a setup here off the back of a Zay demo on the goal line. And there we go, Smoking Guns really trying to open up on that off-ball pressure here. And we can clearly tell that in game number 2, they're really picking up on the more useful demos. Because chasing demos doesn't necessarily do anything. You might make a team worried, but a good team should be able to avoid demos at all costs. So you only want to make sure when you go for demos, they're useful demos, and that is the most useful demo I've ever seen. Kilo managing to get a free possession here. And it's off the back of Zay, getting a demo on the goal line. If you go for it enough, eventually you'll land that demo, and all Kilo has to do is recognize it and shoot it on target. And that's what happened there. And Smoking Guns leading 2-0 in game number 2. So far, Slotdowns yet to score in regulation, their only goal being in overtime in game 1. And we're now about to enter the final minute of regulation here, and Slotdowns still yet to find a shot that hasn't gone off the crossbar. Here comes Sticky Kazoo, again, giving away the ball to the midfield. Luckily for him, Speed Demon follows it up first, but then he throws himself to that ball. Now 2 people overcommit. Will now be up to Gilgrave, but Doug misses. The ball will bounce off the crossbar, bounce off the post. The ball just keeps ricocheting off of every surface except the inside of the net for either team right at this moment in time. But Smoking Guns will still find themselves with a 2-0 lead. Ball back over now to Kilo. Kilo to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair looking for the shot. Ends up getting intercepted by Sticky Kazoo. Back to Kilo. Kilo gets demoed, and Doug Gilgrave is going to keep this ball in the offensive half. He's on low boost and can't get back to that ball. Sticky Kazoo onto the ceiling to Kilo. Kilo to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair leaving that one. It's going to be back to Zay. They trying to maintain possession. We back off the ceiling. To Kilo. Kilo trying to maintain possession. Back out to the side wall. To Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair gets the dunk on that one. Back over out to the side. Now back over to Sticky Kazoo. Can he maintain possession here? Look for maybe a last-second goal. Mr. Chair will not fly up that one. He will not end up own goaling. And the ball might get kept up here for a little bit at 0 seconds, but Smoking Guns will officially tie the series here in the final series of the night. And look at that, folks. Look at those demos. Sticky Kazoo and Zay, the only ones with demos. But here we go. We talked about how last game it was Sticky Kazoo's demos that were very, very useful to the team. But this time, it didn't really result in any goals. Granted, their shooting was a little bit off target. Granted, and then when we look at Zay, his demos were useful this game compared to game number 1. So, great stuff from Smoking Guns. Let's see if they can keep this form up going into game number 3 as both these teams try and take match point here on Sovereign Heights. And honestly, I could see the series going either way. It was 1-0 for Slothhounds. Now and then it was 2-0 for the side of Smoking Guns. And now maybe we'll see a close back and forth game. We've still yet to see Slothhounds score in regulation in a game so far. Here we go. And now we're going to be going into game number 3. Definitely going to be interesting. Let's see if these teams have which team has what it takes to take it to match point first. Here we go, everybody. On to the kickoff. Kilo through the air. Only player in Havoc that you might be able to call as mechanical as Kilo is It's Tricky. I believe Tricky's actually in chat. But of course, most people will still. Oh, Speed Demon looking to get a psycho on his own net almost. But most people do compare probably Tricky and Kilo as both mechanical players in Havoc. But people normally give Kilo just that little bit of an advantage. Ball back over now to Kilo. He gets the ball into the corner. Back over to iDougYoGrave. Looking to try to get that ball over one. Kilo trying to take it back, puts it off his own corner. Looking to pinch that ball across. Back to Speed Demon. Speed Demon. Zay. Zay not able to get there. We're back over to Sticky Kazoo. And Zay gets the 50. Ball back over to Speed Demon. Speed Demon across to the corner. Back over to iDougYoGrave. He puts that ball over the sidewall, but he's not able to recover. And Kilo sends that ball mid. Speed Demon with an awkward touch, and it sends it up for Zay. Zay's been setting up the goals all series long so far, but this time it will be him who finds the goal off a misplay for Speed Demon. Speed Demon, he looked like the best player so far on his team, but right now it's going to be a mishap that leads them to be losing by 1 in game number 3. And oh my goodness, right off the kickoff. I was just checking on my other screen for a second, and apparently right off the kickoff, it was a goal. Zay puts that ball in the back of the net. And that, folks, is why it's normally good to have a co-commentator. You always have to be looking at the game, always be talking when you're on your own. But, you know, I got to learn to suffer through it here, folks. So with 4 minutes left on the clock, Speed Demon puts that ball off the sidewall. Over to Kilo. Kilo trying to maintain possession off the backboard. Now, back over now to Doug. Doug puts it over to the sidewall to Kilo. Kilo now trying to maintain possession here. Gets the ball around 1. Over to now trying to take possession. Sticky Kazoo. Look, he's finally stopped booming the ball and doing what he's really good at, looking for possessions. Ball back over to Zay. Zay going to be looking for the Hattie. And if he scores right now, that'd be a natural hat trick. 3 consecutive goals there for Zay. He managed to score another one. And a great bump. But Doug will end up getting possession. He'll be looking to try and ball over the entire team. And so much for the natural hat trick. Doug will end up getting the goal there. Although I don't know, because I know some sports are different in terms of definitions. I don't know if an opponent scores in between any of your goals, is that a natural hat trick? In my opinion, no. I think you have to score 3 consecutive goals in the game no matter what. But at least 3 consecutive goals in your team is still possible here for Zay. Let's see if he can get that Hattie. Off the backboard. But luckily for Slothhounds, they've managed to put in a second goal here. Slothhounds went from not scoring in regulation in the first 2 games to now tying up the game in game number 3. And they're doing so in a great fashion. And if they keep this one going, can they keep performing here when it matters most? Right now, it looks like Slothhounds are finally starting to find the back of the net. But normally, the issues we see from them is they don't find the back of the net until game 5. Normally game 5 or game 4 when they're about to win is normally when they start hitting the post all the time. But they've been hitting the post all season long, or all series long. Well, all season long too, but all series long at least for today. But maybe hitting the crossbars in the first 2 games is what they needed so they could warm up and start finally putting shots on target. That shot from Speed Demon was on target, albeit a bit soft. And now, Slothhounds are starting to put on some consistent pressure. Kilo gets the save off his own crossbar, and Zay will clear that one away. Looks like a goal will be on the board here for Slothhounds. I keep getting caught off guard here, folks. Sticky Kazoo pops that ball mid to Speed Demon, and ends up being a goal. Like, for me, I was like, okay, I can take a breather here just for a second, and then a missed 50, and it's a goal. So here we go. Slothhounds going to take the lead for the first time this series. Technically, they did win game 1 in overtime, but that's not really taking a lead. That's winning a game at that point. But here we go. Ball, chance there for Zay. Back over to Kilo. Kilo now trying to maintain possession. Now back over into the offensive corner here for Smoking Guns. Remember, Smoking Guns is not just playing to win. They're playing to keep the perfect split alive. Right now, they have not lost a single series this split. And this is probably their biggest challenger at this moment in time. Havoc Pink are undefeated outside of the one series they forfeited. But of course, Smoking Guns, they're completely undefeated. No forfeits, no anything. They showed up. They're getting that attendance award. Ball back over to the corner. Kilo now as he's waiting to challenge this one. Great 50-50, but ends up going straight over to Speed Demon. He's going to take possession himself. Demon gets it around 1, but can't get it past 2. Ball looked like it was bouncing towards an empty net for a second, but a missed possession will allow Kilo to score. And look at this here, folks. Look at this shot. Mr. Chair, of course, looked for the bump, but Kilo, off the miss, even though it was a missed bump from Mr. Chair, it was enough to get them to Sticky Kazoo to leave the ball for a moment, just enough space for Kilo to come in and get the goal. And we're back to a tied game with 1:20 left on the clock. Kilo now trying to maintain possession here. Back over to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair off the backboard. Looking for the follow-up. It's going to be a miss. And Slothhound's going to be looking for a shot. Will be saved away by Kilo. Kilo really stepping up big here. We've not really, even though most people call Kilo the most mechanical player in Havoc, he's not necessarily ever been a carry player. He will steal the goal here from his teammate. But Kilo in this series has honestly been looking great. He's been looking, as he's warmed up, of course game 1 wasn't the best, but as he's warmed up, he's starting to look more and more like that carry, that MVP type player. He might be the most mechanical, but if you don't know how to use those mechanics properly, you can't really carry the team, and that's what we're seeing right here. Of course, shout out to the coach of Smoking Guns right now. Of course, I believe Pinda of Havoc is helping out Smoking Guns with the coaching side of things. I don't know if he's in chat or if he's watching someone sharing screens in the Discord, but overall he is helping Smoking Guns, and maybe he's one of the main reasons why Smoking Guns has currently won all their series. Now, I will say they should probably kick Panda before the Grand Finals, because once you're in the Grand Finals, you get reverse swept if you're Panda. So, just keep Panda until that final match of the season. Ball back over now to Zay. Zay looking for the possible double tap. Ends up passing the ball mid to Mr. Chair. And will get saved away. Ball now to the side of Speed Demon. Speed Demon puts it off the corner. 10 seconds left, and it looks like Smoking Guns are going to take game number 3. They're going to take the lead in the series here for the first time. Can Slothhounds get it to the offensive end and score? Ball will bounce mid. Kilo keeps it in the air. Back to Mr. Chair. Tried to pass it out mid, but the ball will touch the ground. And ladies and gentlemen, Smoking Guns, one game away for continuing their streak to a 5-0. They're currently on a 5-series win streak in Havoc. They lost the Grand Finals of Split 1, and then ever since then, they've yet to lose a single game. There we go, and look at those demos. Again, Smoking Guns picking up on the demos, whereas Sticky Kazoo had 5 demos in the last game, but with his teammates not stepping up and hitting those shots on target, it looks like he's fallen off on those, trying to get the assists, trying to get the goals. But it looks like it's not enough here for this. But now, on to game number 4. On to Manfield Night. Which team will have what it takes to win this series? Will we see Smoking Guns win it in 4? Or will we see another Game 5 between these two teams? Last time we saw these two teams play, it was at Game 7, and Smoking Guns came out on top. But will it happen this time? Will we see another Game 5 between these two teams? Honestly, I have no idea how the series is going to go. So far, it's been a Game 6 and a Game 7 this series has ended. And right now, this will be the first time. This is actually the first time we've seen these two teams in a best-of-5 play against each other. And of course, best-of-5s are slightly different than Game 7, than best-of-7s. And right now we're seeing it here. Smoking Guns looking a lot more confident compared to when we saw these teams play in the best-of-7s a while ago. Here we go. Ball back over now to Speed Demon. Off the sidewall will be taken over here by Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair sending that ball back. We're back over to Kilo now as he's trying to maintain possession. Kilo gets the ball around one, but he can't get the follow-up. That's going to be up to Zay, but Speed Demon will end up getting the save there. Ball out to the sidewall. Looks like it's a long shot attempt here from Zay. Will it be on target? No, it's off the post. Now follow-up from Mr. Chair is necessary. That's off the crossbar. We'll be back over to Kilo. Kilo pops the ball over one. To the corner. Back over now to Doug. Doug ends up leaving that one. Back over to the backboard. To Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair not able to get there. We're back over now to Sticky Kazoo. Back into the hands of Speed Demon. Speed Demon ends up putting it back to his own side of the field as he's not able to find the shot. Doug. Back over now to Zay. Zay ends up missing the touch and will be up to Speed Demon to get this ball to the offensive end. Speed Demon going to definitely be thinking about game number 2, where he end up giving up a free goal. This could be a completely different series. Ball back out to the Speed Demon, to Sticky Kazoo. Passes the ball mid to Speed Demon. Speed Demon going to have to look to redeem himself, but he ends up getting dunked on, and it's going to be up to Doug, now on the dominance for the first time, I believe. Looking to try and bring this team some new energy. Pops the ball back. Speed Demon. Speed Demon. Popping the ball over one. Back to Zay. Zay now to Sticky Kazoo. Sticky Kazoo pops the ball high into the air. Back to Speed Demon. Speed Demon putting that ball over the side to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair now looking to air 50 this ball. Not able to get to the ball. Back out to the corner. To Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Back over now to Idugio Grave. To Speed Demon. Speed Demon now to Kilo. Kilo pops the ball high into the air. Looks like he ended up, he had 100 boost, but he just doesn't continue flying for it. Maybe thought he was going to get beat. But now, kind of a mirror image of game number 1, still 0-0. But instead of it being Slothhounds with all the pressure in the 0-0 game, it's Smoking Guns. But still, Slothhounds yet to concede a goal. But there's still so much pressure here from Smoking Guns. They're just keeping this ball in the offensive end. They're looking for this off-ball pressure. The demos right now looking extremely useful. Get back over to Kilo now, trying to maintain possession. Mr. Chair looking to pass it back to Zay. Zay gets a 50, but he goes straight to Doug. Doug over one. Now over to Kilo. Kilo trying to maintain possession here. Looking trying to get the beat over one. Pops the ball over now to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair taking it back. Smoking Guns and Slothhounds are both teams that tend to have a hard time finishing series. It's just normally Smoking Guns are just that little bit better at finishing series, or I guess you could say Slothhounds are just a little bit worse. But when it comes down to this, we're seeing Smoking Guns and Slothhounds in Game 4, Smoking Guns on match point, and Smoking Guns have all the pressure. But at the end of the day, all it takes is one goal to swing the tide. All it takes is one goal right now to win this game even. And all Smoking Guns need is one game win to win this series and continue their 5-0 streak. Ball back over to Kilo. Kilo ends up not being able to get the best possession touch. Go back out to the side. Over to Doug. Doug ends up pinching the ball down the field. Chance here for Sticky Kazoo. But Mr. Chair passes it on to his own backward for Kilo to maintain possession. Here comes Kilo, beating out one. Can't get it past Speed Demon, though, as Speed Demon keeps it on the offensive end. And a great touch will keep the ball on the offensive end even longer for Slothhounds, and they will just keep it completely on the offensive end. The ball's like sitting in the midfield there for so long, but Slothhounds end up winning the midfield battle. Mr. Chair ends up getting it bumped, but Speed Demon wins a 50. Can he get the dunk? No, Zay gets back just in the nick of time. 40 seconds left. Ball off the ceiling. Over down to the corner for Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair sends that ball all the way down the field. Back over to Speed Demon. Speed Demon trying to maintain possession. Puts the ball at the sidewall. But a demo setting up Zay. Zay misses the top corner. And Kilo couldn't even put it on target. Sends it all the way to the sidewall. And Mr. Chair finds himself demoed while going for the solo play. Zay passed it back to Kilo. Wasn't the best back pass, though. And Kilo just sits at the sidewall. Mr. Chair, though, gets a dunk. Speed Demon finds himself getting a demo on the defensive end. Should allow some space here for Slothhounds to avoid getting scored on. And it looks like, just as in game number 1, it might be going to a 0-0 OT, and yes, it will. Ladies and gentlemen, game 4, 0-0 OT once more between these two teams. This is definitely a close competition. Is it going to be Speed Demon to win it the 0-0 OT again, or will it be one of his teammates? Or will Smoking Gun step up and win an OOOT of their own? Over to Speed Demon. Can't get the ball around 1. Back over to Sticky Kazoo. Sticky Kazoo. Over now to Zay. Zay trying to maintain possession. And Speed Demon will put that ball over to the backboard. That's going to be a demo. Doug tries to keep it on the offensive end. He succeeds in doing so. Now it'll be over to Zay. He's trying to maintain possession here. Gets it around Speed Demon. Can he get it around Sticky Kazoo? No, he cannot. Sticky Kazoo trying to maintain possession here on the offensive end. Kilo, good speed. Demo on the back end of the play, and it's going to be Slothhounds keeping the ball on the offensive end. We saw a momentary own team rule 1 there. So it looks like we had a momentary 1v3, but they will break that one. It is overtime after all. Don't want to lose to a 1v3 at the very end of the day. But a minute left on the clock. Kilo getting the ball around 1. Back now over to Zay. Zay. Back over now to Speed Demon. Speed Demon ends up getting beat. To Sticky Kazoo. Back over now to Kilo. Kilo putting that ball over to the side wall. Getting the 50-50. Back over now to Zay. He pops the ball high into the air, but he ends up getting beat to this one. Mr. Chair gonna try and maintain possession. We'll get it around 1. Can he get it around the last player? He shoots! He scores! Mr. Chair wins the series for Smoking Guns, and they do so in a brilliant... Look at that, Mr. Chair gets the ball around 1, and no one is able to challenge him on the follow-up, and that is how they win. I was hoping for a fantastic goal, and to be granted, we just weren't on Mr. Chair's camera there, but Mr. Chair, of course, is a brilliant player, and he gets a goal in a fantastic fashion. But ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for the matches for tonight. And what a brilliant night it was. Sadly, of course, we only had 1 forfeit. Of course, I would have liked to see all 4 matches tonight. All 4 matches would have been fantastic to see. But overall, still great set of matches. Havoc Pink still on top, except for the 1 forfeit. And then Havoc Teal still in 2nd place. And then we got the likes of Smoking Guns still in 1st, undefeated this split. But everybody, that's going to be it here for the matches for tonight. Thank you so much for showing up, everybody. It's been a pleasure to commentate for you all tonight. But I think that's it for the matches tonight, everybody. Yes, it indeed is. And remember, I got word from all the teams. Next week, Havoc Academy will be doing a doubleheader. Week 6 and 7 will be played on the same day. We'll be having 2 streams, 8 matches, double the fun, double the excitement, and it's going to be the final 2 matches of league play for the entire season. And based on how teams perform, they will end up being placed in the Split 2 playoffs or being completely eliminated until potentially making the Academy playoffs. But yeah, double the anime from Pre-Dude. But everybody, thank you so much for showing up. I know my voice is dead. I haven't commentated here in a couple of weeks, so commentating all the matches here tonight, definitely a little bit tiring. But thank you everybody for showing up. And if you guys want, if you're on YouTube, then of course, hope you guys all have a great night. And if you guys are on Twitch, hopefully you guys can stay here for a little bit longer, so we can and hopefully we can give somebody we can raid some special attention. So if you're on Twitch, hopefully you stay around for the raid, and if you're on YouTube, I hope you guys all have a great night. See you guys tomorrow for Main League. Peace.